Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the SMA Journey 51 series. Okay guys, this is going to be question number 3 in the Practical Problem series. Earlier last week I sent you guys an email and I also did a video asking you to send me questions that you would like me to answer. And I told you that it didn't matter how personal you think the question was, if it was a question that I would answer it. So I got a question toward the end of last week from one of my subscribers that was very difficult for me to try to answer. I really had to sit back and think about how I was going to word my response. And it deals with their son who is 12 years old and he's having trouble believing in a Christian God. And I'll explain more as I go on. But I want to let everybody know that I'm not trying to preach my Christianity to everybody. Okay? Some of you may be Muslim, some of you may be Buddhist, some of you may believe in a different God that I believe in. And in no way, shape, or form am I trying to say that my Christian views are better than your Muslim views, your Hindu views, again, whatever God you believe in. So I'm not trying to preach to you. I'm not trying to say that my religion is better than yours. But this subscriber had a question about their son, and I felt that not only did she deserve an answer, but more importantly, her son, who's 12 years old, I think he needs to hear what I have to say about this. So if you don't want to watch this video because of the Christian viewpoints, please feel free to stop the video now, and I'll be answering question number 4 later on this week. But I would like to think that you would at least hear me out about this, because it's something that probably a lot of us have had to deal with in our life. So this video may take a little bit longer than most, but I think it warrants spending just a little bit more time. So let's get started. The question goes on to read, my son, who is now 12 years of age, has difficulties believing in some God, although he is a very happy and social child. His teachers are convinced that his inability to believe in God has a lot to do with his being disabled, because he reasons, how can an almighty and perfect good God, like the God of Christianity is said to be, accept and tolerate that innocent children are born with SMA, which makes their lives and the lives of their innocent parents so difficult at times? When I got this question, and I ended up emailing the subscriber that, and I told her that I was going to answer her question, but I was going to have to really sit back and think about how I was going to respond, because I want this 12-year-old to understand where I'm coming from. I had the same question that this 12-year-old has, but this question for me came at an earlier age. My father was Catholic and my mother was Southern Baptist. And when they married, they converted to the Episcopalian faith, which is in the Christian religion, it's still considered what they call a high church. So we're very much like Catholics in a sense, but some of our views are maybe a little bit different. So I was asking this same question at an earlier age because when I went to school, 2nd through 6th grade, I was in my church school. So I was in private school, 2nd through 6th grade. And we went to chapel every day and we had communion on Wednesdays. So with this being said, this question kind of cropped up in my mind when I was about 8 or 9 years old, whenever I was in the 2nd, 3rd grade, somewhere around that age range. And I was lucky because I was around a lot of priests, a lot of clergy who could sit down and talk with me about this. And I was really lucky that my parents also sat down and talked with me about it and tried to make me understand. So that's what I'm going to try to do today. Again, with the difficulty of this question, it's not like I'm talking to an adult. I'm talking to a child who doesn't have the life experiences that we have at our age. I mean, I'll be 52 in August. Some of you are younger. Some of you may be older. But I'm going to tell you what I believe. In the Bible, it says that God never gives you anything that you can't handle. And I think a lot of that starts with our parents. I was born to 2 very good parents who gave me the ability and the permission to question my faith. We're always taught that we should never question. We should never question what God does to us. But I disagree. I think it's okay to question. There were times in my life that I was angry, okay? I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I was flat out pissed off that God put me in this wheelchair. And after I became angry, and after I had time to think about it, I started thinking that God does say that He's never going to give us anything that we can't handle. And this is something that God has given me to work with, whether I like it or not. This is what God has given me to accept in my life and to do with it to the best of my ability. I wrote a book back in 2012 called Everyone's Anchor. And I talk about that I believe that everybody carries an anchor behind them. Okay? You know, an anchor keeps a boat secure in one spot. And we all drag anchors behind us that tend to slow us down from time to time. And it doesn't matter if you're an athlete and in perfect health. You've got an anchor that slows you down in some way. And unfortunately, our anchor, spinal muscular atrophy, is a larger anchor than most. And while we try to deal with it, we understand that it's always there. It will always slow us down throughout our life. Okay? Our anchor is visible to the naked eye. Okay? Some of you that have a mental deficiency, or you may have something going on in your life that if you're out in public, some people can't see. And those are small anchors. Okay? Only you know that it's there. But we, as SMA patients, know that our anchor is visible. Mine is that I'm sitting in a wheelchair. Okay, and let's face it, no matter how much I try to hide the fact that I'm sitting in a wheelchair, you're going to see it. Okay? And the first thing people do when they see me, before they even meet me and know who I am and what I'm all about, they're going to prejudge me before any of this happens. Okay? They're going to come up with an assumption in their mind. And we only hope that the assumption isn't something much worse than what we've already got. So I do believe that when we're born, and I talk about this in my book, that we've got like this big open canvas. And it doesn't have anything on it. It's a blank canvas. And when we're born, we start making brushstrokes on this canvas. Everything that we do good in our life and everything that we do bad in our life is a brushstroke. And by the time that we die, we hope and pray that our good brushstrokes far outweigh the bad ones. And it's how we view ourselves as being patients or individuals with SMA is how we're going to be judged. Or at least that's the way I look at it. I try to do as much for other people. I've got a good heart, and I'm not bragging on myself. I'm not patting myself on the back. But I've always cared more about other people than I do myself. And those of you that know me personally, those of you that are watching, my family and my friends, will attest to the fact that if something happens to you, I'm far more concerned about you than I am myself. Okay, and that's the way that I was raised. In the Bible, it teaches us to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And basically what that's saying is that you need to treat people the way that you want to be treated in your life. And with this anchor, this spinal muscular atrophy that we have, it's very difficult to do at certain points in our life. Sometimes we get dragged down, and sometimes we have bad days. And it's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to be angry. Even to this day, and I'll be 52 years old in August, even to this day I have bad days. I don't necessarily question why God put me in a wheelchair, because I know the answer to that now is that this is something that He's given me to work with. And I'm going to do the best at my ability, the best thing that I can do to not only overcome this disease, but to possibly teach others about what SMA does. And maybe this channel is giving me the ability to do that. Maybe this is what I'm supposed to be doing. As strange as it may sound, maybe I'm trying to teach others how to deal with their disability. You know, and sometimes even I have difficulty dealing with it myself. You know, nobody's perfect. Nobody can sit there and say, and I would dare anybody to say that they're perfect, because nobody is. The only perfect person in my view is my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And so, again, with that being said, I'm hoping that the only thing that I can do is to maybe shed a little light and to give somebody a little bit of hope. You know, somebody said, "Do you fear death?" And my response to that was no. I used to be scared of dying. I was scared of leaving this wonderful place that we call Earth. But my Christian viewpoints tell me that when I do die, I'm going to go to a place where no pain and suffering exists. That there is no pain and suffering, that I'll be able to walk. So I don't necessarily fear death. In a way, I kind of look forward to it. And I know that sounds a little bit odd. I'm not suicidal. I don't hope I die tomorrow. But if I was to die tomorrow, I would be okay with that, because I think I've done pretty good in my life. I had a successful career. I'm happy. When I wake up, I've got a smile on my face. I'm not down. I'm probably as well adjusted as anybody else could be. Probably more than others, because I've had to deal with this for 52 years. Some of you have had to deal with it longer. Some of you, like this 12-year-old, is just starting to realize that their life is definitely going to be a little bit different than those of the people that are around him. And it's okay. All right? I know that this child's mother loves him to no ends. Okay? She would go to the ends of the earth for her son. And I applaud her for that, because he's very lucky that he's got a mother that would do this. I was lucky because both my parents would have done anything for me. When my father passed away, he was scared as to what was going to happen to him. And I told him, I said, don't be scared, because my God, my Christian God, is going to take care of me. And he did. He brought me a caregiver that's wonderful. He brought the caregiver's family. Her mother and father are very involved in my life. I've got friends that have been in my life for a very, very long time. I think you met Kimber and Christine in one of my videos. And Kimber and Christine and I had some difficult times. We were separated as friends for 20 years. And we just recently got back together. And again, I think that that was God bringing them into my life for a certain reason. And I do believe that that reason is going to be found out sometime soon. I may need them sometime in my life, and they may need me as well. And so, as far as being in a wheelchair and my beliefs in God, I truly believe that this happens for a reason. I think that we are selected to carry this burden, because we've got family, we've got friends, we've got loved ones who not only support us, but would do anything in the world for us. My father taught me how to use money. He taught me how to save money, invest money. So hopefully I'm more secure than a lot of people, because I've made some investments that are going to allow me to stay in my house for the rest of my life. Hopefully I'll never have to go to a nursing home. And that's something that always scared my father really, really bad. My father was on his deathbed, and we made a commitment to him that I would never be left alone, that I've got family and friends that are always going to be there for me. And while I'm very thankful for that, I also know that this is God's way of working through me to not only help me, but hopefully to help others. So for this user's son, who is 12 years old, the only thing that I can tell you is you've been selected, and you may look at this as an unfortunate circumstance in your life, but don't look at it that way, okay? You've been selected because God knew that you were strong enough to deal with this, that you were strong enough to carry this anchor behind you and to teach others that just because you've got spinal muscular atrophy, you are a living, breathing human being. And people should not only be proud of you, but you, sir, should be proud of yourself. I hope I've answered your question. Again, I really struggled with trying to find the right words, and I hope I did just that. If you guys like what I have to say, please don't forget, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and follow me on all of my other social sites. The links are down below. I hope you guys have a great day. God bless you, and until next time.